Kimmel was going about his day as a truck driver when he decided to take a break at a rest stop. While resting, something unusual caught his eye: a girl peering through the curtain of an old RV parked nearby. The young woman looked disheveled, as if she was waiting for something or someone. Kevin could tell she was in trouble, and he knew he had to act quickly. As a truck driver, Kevin had seen a lot on the road, from reckless drivers to demanding clients, but nothing could compare to what he witnessed that day in January 2015. The experience changed the course of his life, leading him to do something truly meaningful. After a long, exhausting drive, Kevin finally pulled over at a rest stop in New Kent, Virginia. He ate the snacks he had bought earlier and was about to take a nap when something unusual caught his eye. You see, this area was pretty busy, with several cars and trucks frequently passing by. Just a few meters away from Kevin, there was an old RV parked with black curtains. As soon as Kevin saw this, he knew something wasn't right. Instead of sleeping, he sat up and began sorting some paperwork while keeping an eye on the RV. Even Kevin wasn't prepared for what he was about to witness next. A few minutes later, he saw a man walking towards the RV. The man knocked on the window, and the door immediately opened. He looked around, as if to ensure no one had followed him, and then went inside. Almost immediately after entering, the man came out again, and then, after a while, he returned to the RV once more. Once he was inside, Kevin noticed that someone started the engine and kept it running for about 5 minutes. Why aren't they moving? Why keep the engine running? Kevin thought. What he saw next made his heart race, and he found himself reaching for his phone to call for help. Kevin was peering intently at the RV when he spotted someone through the window. It was a young girl, and she looked distraught. Before Kevin could make sense of what was happening, someone pulled the girl back into the RV and adjusted the dark curtain. That was it. Someone, or perhaps the girl, was in danger, Kevin thought. He quickly took out his phone and dialed 911. A few minutes after the call, police officers arrived at the scene and rushed towards the RV. Kevin watched as they rescued the young girl from the vehicle. The officers then went back in and brought out a man and a woman. Their faces were filled with terror and shame as the police handcuffed them. Kevin then gave a detailed statement of everything that had transpired. Later, he learned that the couple had abducted the girl a few weeks earlier and had subjected her to all kinds of unthinkable acts. Thankfully, justice prevailed and the couple was imprisoned. The police didn't reveal the victim's identity, but she reached out to Kevin to express her gratitude. "She called me her hero and guardian angel," Kevin said. "I told her I wanted her to overcome everything she had been through and just be happy, and she promised she would." Now that Kevin had rescued this girl, he knew there were other victims out there waiting for their saviors too. Kevin felt that being a driver placed him at the front line of human trafficking, so he reached out to Truckers Against Trafficking, a charity organization committed to fighting these acts of captivity, and teamed up with them. To date, Kevin is an important voice in the campaign against these forms of subjugation. He continues to lend his voice to the fight against this crime. During events, he shares his experience and educates people on how to spot signs of trafficking. Not only did he save this girl from a horrifying experience, but he is also doing his part to create a safer world and prevent others from suffering the same fate. When this man, Antonio Garcia, a truck driver, risked his life for an unconscious man, here is the shocking and disheartening response from his company. Antonio had little money, but he was an honest and upright man who was ready to do anything in his power to make others happy and comfortable. From the little he had, he made sure his wife and kids got the best, but life was still not easy for Antonio. He had to do several menial jobs and even worked extra shifts just to provide for his family. Yet, never once did this man complain. He also showed no form of irritation or annoyance toward his spouse or kids. Even on days when he got the worst treatment from his bosses, Antonio would come home with a huge smile. He would even bring cookies for his kids because he knew how much they loved them. He never returned home without getting something for his children, no matter how small. I just always looked forward to their faces whenever I presented them with the gifts. They don't know it, but that has kept me going through the toils, setbacks, and every ugly experience I ever had, Antonio said. This truck driver continued to juggle different menial jobs until one day, luck shone on him. Earlier, Antonio had gone for an interview with Quality Towing, but never heard back from them. After a while, he gave up on the job. But his joy knew no bounds when the company called to inform him he could start working with them full-time the following week. To Antonio, that meant the world. He was so glad he could finally take a break from working different jobs and spend more time with his family. Unfortunately, this joy was short-lived. Once Antonio began his job as a tow truck driver, he gave it his all. It didn't take long for the company to realize how indispensable he was, and they were glad they hired him. However, you will soon see how people can quickly forget all your good deeds after just one act they deem wrong. It all started after Antonio went above and beyond his duty and saved countless lives. On March 10, 2017, Antonio was going about his job when he suddenly spotted a car moving recklessly. Swinging into action, he tried to stop the car with wheel blocks, but it kept rolling down the Spring Mountain ramp. That was when Antonio noticed something alarming. The driver was slouched over the passenger seat. Antonio later explained that the man was just flopping around and he was drooling. Things quickly escalated as the vehicle picked up speed. Antonio would later learn that the man was suffering from a medical condition. The car was bouncing off walls and he was gaining speed. I figured he was going about 70 miles per hour downhill, and I knew everyone else would be in danger. We would have a big problem, Antonio said in an interview. At that moment, this heroic truck driver made a life-saving decision that would come at a great cost. Using the freeway service patrol truck, Antonio pinned the car against the barrier to bring it to a stop. Thankfully, his approach worked and Antonio immediately rushed to help the man. Fortunately, the driver was uninjured and was quickly taken to the hospital. News of Antonio's heroic act spread quickly, earning him praise from everyone, but just a few days later, something devastating happened. Antonio's employer fired him, claiming he had failed to meet work standards. Quite shocking, right? I got an email stating I had been fired. It was saddening, but I didn't think or care about any effect this could have on my job. I wasn't scared. I just wanted to save the man and everyone else on the road, Antonio said. When asked if he would do something like this again, a proud Antonio replied, in a heartbeat, I could always get another job, but he wouldn't get his life back. A few days later, Antonio's fate took a turn. The Clark County Fire Department, which was also at the scene, recognized Antonio's actions. If this courageous freeway service patrolman had not leaped into action as he did, there may have been a very bloody Friday morning, said the fire department leaders. Antonio was nominated for the Citizen Heroism Award, which he received in June of that year. But that wasn't the end of his story. Another towing agency heard about Antonio's heroic act and offered him a job. He couldn't have been happier. It just goes to show that the kindness we put into the world often finds its way back to us. I'm really keen to know your thoughts on this story, so please don't hesitate to share your insights in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and found it engaging, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more similar content. Feel free to share this video. Take good care of yourselves, and I'm excited to connect with you in our future videos.